The controversy surrounding Cole and Summer's exit from The Young and the Restless has been brewing for weeks, with fans expressing outrage over the unclear resolution to their storylines. The decision to write Cole out of the show has sparked intense debate, with viewers questioning why such a beloved character had to leave in such a sudden and seemingly unsatisfactory manner. The absence of a proper, dramatic farewell for Cole feels like a missed opportunity, especially considering the emotional investment fans have had in his journey. Instead of receiving a proper send-off, Cole's exit feels like a rushed decision, one that doesn't do justice to the character or the fans who have followed his story for so long. Why Cole's departure feels unjustified. Cole's death, while a dramatic twist, seems out of place in the context of his character's arc. For years, Cole has been a central figure in many of Genoa City's most intricate relationships, and his gradual decline in the storyline left many fans feeling that he deserved more than a quiet exit. His role has diminished over time, and while the writers may have felt it was time for him to be written out, the manner of his departure, without proper build-up or emotional payoff, has left viewers feeling like his storyline was prematurely cut short. The decision to kill Cole off, especially in the midst of so many other ongoing, high-stakes dramas, has caused frustration among fans who wanted to see more closure for his character. Why did Cole have to meet such an abrupt end? Why not give him a proper battle, a fight that would have been worthy of his complex emotional journey? His death could have served as a poignant moment for the show, a cathartic culmination of the struggles he's faced over the years. Instead, it's treated as little more than a narrative afterthought, with fans left wondering what could have been. Summer's unexpected exit and the potential impact on Kyle and Claire. Summer's predicted exit from Genoa City only adds to the heartbreak. The idea that she will leave town with Harrison to start fresh in another city is both logical and heart-wrenching. For Summer, the decision to move away makes sense given the escalating tensions surrounding her relationships and the ever-present threat of Victor's looming influence. But for Kyle, this leaves a massive emotional void. He's already been struggling with his role as a father and partner, and Summer's departure would undoubtedly create an even greater rift between him and his responsibilities. Yet, Kyle's loyalty to Summer, his love for her and his need to protect their family, makes it unlikely that he will oppose her decision. But Kyle's approval of Summer's move would have devastating implications, especially for Claire, who is already feeling isolated and uneasy in her own place within the family. While Claire's feelings toward Harrison are already complicated, the thought of being left alone in their shared space is something that she feels deeply uncomfortable with. Harrison's presence, even in a family dynamic that was meant to be accepting, has always felt like a threat to Claire, and she's grown increasingly resentful of his position within their lives. Claire's desire to have Harrison removed from the picture, by sending him off with Summer, is her way of asserting control over a situation that she feels she has no power in. But her request to push Harrison away speaks volumes about her lack of emotional intelligence and her inability to form genuine bonds, especially with children. She has never been able to connect with Harrison, and her desire to remove him from their lives isn't driven by any real malice toward the boy, but rather by a deep-seated insecurity and fear of not being loved or accepted. This speaks to Claire's larger issue with self-worth, and while her feelings are understandable to a degree, her approach is completely misguided. Claire's unfit desire for love, the emotional cost of her actions, Claire's struggle with finding love, her inability to truly embrace the children and families around her, paints a darker picture of her character. She may not even realize it herself, but her actions suggest a fundamental flaw in her ability to love unconditionally. Claire's coldness toward Harrison and her inability to understand his place in the family speaks volumes about her emotional immaturity. Instead of stepping into a nurturing, loving role, she's continually sidelining the people she should care about most, especially the children who need her warmth and guidance. Is Claire truly capable of love? Her actions, particularly her response to Harrison's presence, suggest that perhaps she is not. Her inability to accept him, to see him as part of the family, is a tragic commentary on her emotional state. She's become so consumed by her own desires for control and affection that she's blind to the fact that love is something that cannot be controlled or manipulated. It's something that must be given freely, especially to those who need it most. The reality is that Claire may be trapped in her own personal prison of emotional selfishness. Her desire to isolate herself from Harrison and Kyle, to ensure that her relationship with him remains untouched by the complexities of family dynamics, is a result of her own deep-seated insecurities. She doesn't want to share Kyle's love, and she certainly doesn't want to share his attention with a child who, in her eyes, doesn't deserve it. This behavior is not only hurtful but ultimately leaves Claire feeling more isolated and unworthy of the love she so desperately seeks. A broken family and the path forward. The fractured family dynamic that surrounds Kyle, Claire, Summer, and Harrison is a tragic reminder of how difficult it can be to navigate love, loyalty, and personal insecurities. Summer's departure may create the physical distance needed to bring clarity to some of these issues, but it's unlikely to heal the emotional wounds that have been festering for far too long. Claire's inability to connect with Harrison, her lack of understanding about what it means to truly love and care for another person, highlights a deeper issue within her. It isn't just about getting rid of Harrison or isolating herself from the people she doesn't understand, it's about Claire coming to terms with her own flaws and finding a way to open herself up to others. Meanwhile, Kyle must confront his own emotional confusion as he faces the reality of his relationship with Claire and his responsibilities to his son. The family dynamic is shifting, and he has to decide whether he will side with Claire or continue to find ways to connect with his son and keep the family together. But how can he protect his family when Claire seems so unwilling to accept that love must be shared and that his bond with Harrison can't simply be erased? In the midst of this drama, Cole's departure remains a bittersweet symbol of the shifting tides in Genoa City. His exit may have been controversial and unsatisfying for many fans, but it also serves as a reminder of how fragile relationships and connections are, how easily someone can be pushed out, forgotten, or replaced. The unresolved feelings between Cole, Summer, Kyle, and Claire are a reminder that in the world of the young and the restless, nothing is ever simple, and no one can ever truly escape the complexities of their own actions. As the dust settles, the question remains, will Claire ever learn to truly love, or will she continue down a path of isolation and misunderstanding? Will Kyle stand by her as she pushes everyone else away, or will he finally recognize the emotional damage that has been done? And what of Summer and Harrison? How will their absence from Genoa City change the dynamics forever? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, the young and the restless has only just begun to explore the consequences of love, betrayal, and the complexity of family. The decision to write Summer Newman out of The Young and the Restless has ignited a wave of controversy and heartbreak among the show's dedicated fanbase. For years, Summer has been a cornerstone of the series, evolving from a young girl into a strong and independent woman, and it's hard for many fans to accept that she is leaving. Her departure has been foreshadowed in subtle ways, but even with that knowledge, her exit feels sudden and unsettling. A going-away party has been organized by her colleagues, signaling the end of an era, but despite the preparation, many fans remain in disbelief. Summer's role as a pillar of the show Summer has been part of The Young and the Restless for many years, weaving herself into the fabric of Genoa City's most prominent families, particularly the Newmans. She has had her fair share of ups and downs, but through it all, Summer has always been a character who could be relied upon to carry significant weight in the show's storylines. Her complex relationships with characters like her father Nick Newman, grandmother Nikki Newman, and her tumultuous history with Kyle Abbott made her a central figure in the narrative. As much as the fans may hate to admit it, Summer has grown into one of the modern-day pillars of the show, filling a void left by older characters like Phyllis Summers, who has seen her own storylines evolve over the years. The departure of Summer feels like the departure of a younger, more vibrant character who was ushered in to eventually replace the older guard. While some fans have been vocal about their displeasure, arguing that Summer is a character who still has so much potential, others understand that in the world of soap operas, the changing of the guard is inevitable. The writers of The Young and the Restless seem to have made their decision, and Summer's exit is part of a broader trend where older, familiar faces make way for the newer generation of characters. The show, like any long-running soap opera, must evolve to stay relevant, which means sometimes having to say goodbye to beloved characters, no matter how deeply rooted they are in the show's legacy. In a way, Summer's departure is symbolic of the shift in the show's direction, and fans are forced to confront that reality. The fans' outcry and their desire for change. It's no surprise that fans have been vocal in their opposition to Summer's exit. With Summer being such a prominent part of the show for so long, her departure feels like losing a piece of the YNR family. Social media has been flooded with comments from fans expressing their heartbreak, anger, and confusion. Many fans have written heartfelt pleas for the writers to reconsider or to bring her back, but unfortunately, their voices seem to fall on deaf ears. The writers have already committed to their plans, and despite the backlash, the storylines must move forward. This is not the first time YNR has faced a strong fan protest over a character departure. There have been similar outcries in the past when beloved characters have been written off, only to have those feelings of betrayal subside as the show continues on its course. It's painful for fans to accept that even the most beloved characters can be written out, but as much as they may voice their concerns, it rarely changes the outcome. The writers have long-term plans in mind for the show's progression, and while fan reactions may be considered, the show's direction will continue according to the writers' vision. Will Summer return? One of the biggest questions on fans' minds is whether Summer will ever return. The Young and the Restless has a long history of characters leaving, only to return after a few years, sometimes for a major storyline. Given the way Summer has been integrated into the fabric of the show, it's not entirely out of the question that she could come back in the future, but for now, her exit is final. With the storyline set to explore new directions, the future of Summer's character may be left open-ended for now. However, it's clear that her absence will create a void, one that may eventually be filled by other characters or storylines. Summer's return, if it happens, would likely be a significant event that would bring even more drama and excitement to YNR. For now, though, her departure is meant to create space for new stories, characters, and dynamics. The emotional impact of Summer's departure for longtime fans of YNR. Summer's departure signifies more than just the loss of a character, it represents the end of a chapter. Characters like Summer have been through so much over the years. They've matured, formed relationships, and taken part in some of the show's most important moments. Saying goodbye to such a character can feel like losing a close friend. The fact that Summer's departure is tied to Kyle's life and relationship with Claire further adds to the emotional weight of the storyline. Will Kyle be able to cope with Summer leaving, especially with the complex dynamics in his relationship with Claire? For Claire, Summer's departure may feel like a victory of sorts, as she can now pursue a closer relationship with Kyle without the ever-present shadow of Summer. However, Claire's own insecurities and her strained relationship with the family mean that she will likely struggle with her newfound freedom. Kyle's emotional journey post-Summer's exit will be one of personal growth and potential conflict, as he faces the reality of his decisions and the future of his relationship with Claire. The future of YNR and what's next for the fans. The departure of Summer from The Young and the Restless is part of a larger shift within the soap opera world, one that reflects both the changing tastes of audiences and the need for shows to evolve. The young and dynamic characters are given room to breathe, while the older characters slowly make their way out. This doesn't mean that YNR is losing its heart, though. The show will continue to thrive with its vast ensemble cast and rich storylines, but the departure of Summer is a reminder of the transitory nature of soap operas. While fans may be upset now, it's likely that YNR will continue to build new storylines that will eventually capture the audience's attention once more. The show's ability to weave new relationships, rivalries, and plot twists into its fabric is what has kept it relevant for over 40 years. The departure of Summer may sting for a while, but the next chapter of YNR is already unfolding. In conclusion, while the departure of Summer is heartbreaking for fans, it's a necessary step for the evolution of the young and the restless. Characters come and go, and the storylines must continue to shift and change. Whether or not Summer returns, her legacy on the show will continue to resonate with fans who have followed her journey through thick and thin. And as always with soap operas, new characters will rise, new alliances will form, and the drama will continue. The fans may be upset now, but with time, the storylines will evolve and the show will push forward, because that's the nature of soap operas.